Welcome to our APS EdTech Bytes session. These are bite-sized tech for some big ideas. Today's session is going to be about collapsible headers in Google Docs, and I'm also going to show you a couple other bonus features that are inside Google Docs Pageless View. I had previously done 2 sessions just to let you know to check out our EdTech Bytes playlist. We did insert menu magic as well as tool menu treasures. And then today we're going to be looking at that Pageless View feature. I'm over here in a Google Doc, and this is in the regular page view of a Google Doc. And I'm going to show you the difference between Pageless and Page View. This is one of our training documents that we show all the different features and tools you can use within Google Docs. So within Google, some of you might be familiar in the Pages view that there is this little outline here on the side. You're going to see that it has all of these different sections here. Now, all of these sections have been created using the text feature here. If I highlight text, it is still here as a normal text style. What I can do is I can change that into a heading style, and that is what's going to create those collapsible headers within Pageless Docs. It works with all of the different headings features. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to heading 1, and I'm going to apply heading 1, which means that's going to make this, when I click on it and highlight it, a heading 1 style. Now, one sort of bonus feature of this is if I go here in heading 1, I can update heading 1 to match, and that means anywhere in my document that has heading 1 will match the same format, size, color of the other heading. Now, once that is applied, and if I go down through this document, this is heading 1, Google Docs for collaboration, that's also heading 1. Anything underneath it is normal text. Now, if I go here to File and Page Setup, I'm going to change this from the Pages view over to Pageless. Now, the reason you would want to change content for Pageless is if you have a really large table, you have a very large image or something inside your text. You're going to notice here in my doc, as I scroll down, a lot of these tables are broken up between the different pages. And so it would be much nicer if that was just one continuous page. So I'm going to go back to File, Page Setup, and go to Pageless. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to close off this outline here on the side. And you're going to notice that this is now one continuous document. But what you might see is that before, where I had these headers, there's now a little caret next to that heading. So up here, I created that just a minute ago. It creates a collapsible heading. So if I close it, it takes all of that text that was underneath this heading and makes it collapsible. I'm going to show you again how I created that because it's a little bit easier to see now that I am in the Pageless view. So I'm going to say heading 1 example. So I'm just going to type some text here just so you can see it collapse. And then I'm going to do a heading 2 and a heading 3 example as well, just to kind of show you how those show up a little bit differently. So I'm going to highlight the heading 1 example. I'm going to change it from normal text into heading 1. And now when I hover over it, you're going to notice that I can now collapse that text. I'm going to highlight heading 2, and I changed it to heading 2. Now you're going to notice that it allows you to collapse this text as well. But what you're going to see is it's going to create sort of a subheading that's collapsible, and they're all going to collapse under heading 1. So heading 1 is the first level of collapsing. I'm going to expand that out, and then underneath heading 2, I can collapse that. Same thing. So now that I just did heading 3, it's going to collapse that text underneath that. I can further collapse that under heading 2, and then I can collapse this under heading 1. Now, if I do share this out to somebody, this is going to send this collapsible version of the Google document. So you want to make sure that people who you send it to understand that these headings are collapsed at this point and that you're going to have to uncollapse them throughout your document. Now, if you want to take off a heading, just select that text and you can change it back to normal text. So I'm going to go back here and change these back to normal text, and now they won't be collapsible. Just because the text is normal doesn't mean you cannot go through here and format it. Here are some things I also like to do in Pageless View to make this a little bit easier to see. But what we've done is we've gone ahead and color-coded those sections. To create a bar across a doc, I'm going to highlight this text, and I'm going to go to Format, a Paragraph Style. And then I'm going to select Borders and Shading. This is where you can create a border color or a background color for that specific text that's going to reach all the way across on that page, and then you can format the text within it, so that way it's easier to tell where those collapsible headers happen within a Google document. Another bonus within Pageless View is that you get to see these large tables all laid out where you can scroll down and see the whole entire thing. The only issue is you don't typically see that header. So what you can do is you can highlight this in a table format in Google Docs. And when you're in Pageless View, you can pin those headers. So I'm going to go ahead and pin the top one in this one. And now when you scroll, it's going to keep that header at the top of the page, kind of like when you freeze the heading in a Google Sheet. If you want to turn that off, just hover over that header and unpin. The final feature that is within Pageless View is going here to insert a cover image. Choose from stock images. I can select my own image. I do like choosing from the stock images because they have some interesting headers that are nature headers. There's travel. I think I'll go back to nature for this. I'll pick being lost in the woods for a moment. If you click on this, it's almost like creating a web page header. You can't really type any text within the page header, but you can hover over and reposition this header to where you can kind of have different parts of the image visible, kind of like it there instead. It does have alt text built in, and then if you want from here to replace the image, I'm going to close out the stock images, and now you're going to see that when you scroll, it just creates that really pretty cover image. So that is how you create collapsible headers in Google Docs to try and keep that information organized and a little bit easier to find and see within your Google document.